have to say the first one or two were a little bit dry, and then she bloody shags the guy and he has a heart attack and dies. It was an amazing turnaround. Hi everyone, how are we all? Sorry I haven't been around for a few weeks. It's just been chaos here, as I'm sure it has been for you wherever you are in the world, which feels really funny to say, but it's true. We're all in the same world crisis, which is just bizarre and overwhelming. And I just wanted to check in and make sure you're okay, and also just to say I wasn't really sure where to go with filming stuff for you. I mean, I haven't got any time anyway because we now have a 3 and a 4-year-old at home, and you know, you can't get anything done. So the little bits of pockets of time that I get to do stuff, I'm not sure what you'd like to see. So if you've got any requests, then pop them in the comments below, the type of thing that you'd like to see. I'm just feeling very sort of fortunate this week, really. We're on day 11 or 12 of our lockdown because we took the kids out early because it all seemed to be getting very serious and pointing in that direction anyway. So we took them out last Tuesday. Last week was hellish, and this week I'm feeling a lot more settled with the new way of life and a lot more optimistic and a lot more grateful for what we have, because it's easy to lose sight of that. Sorry, I haven't been crying, I've been coughing. And we've got a roof over our heads, we've got a garden that the kids can play in, we live in the countryside so we can go on walks, and we've got food in the fridge. And for so many people around the world, they don't have anything. And so I think by focusing on things that you have, it helps you with whatever inconveniences you're suffering. And I know it's different for everybody because tragically people have lost their jobs. Some people have lost loved ones already, or they've got people close to them that are vulnerable or old and they're worried sick about them. And so everyone is in the same boat, but weirdly very different boats. And I'm not here to rank them in order of hardship or anything like that. I just wanted to say that I hope you're all well, basically, and to see, if anything, what you'd like going forward while we're all stuck at home. There is a point to this video, however, because I can never just do a ramble, and that is, I'm just going to have to break for another coughing fit. Before we start worrying about the cough, I have no idea whether it is COVID-19 or not. It's a productive cough, and so I'm not sure that counts as the kind of dry cough that's a symptom. I've had it since last Friday, which would be weird to be COVID-19 because we've been in lockdown since 4 days before that, so who knows? But it's very, very irritating, and I feel quite tired. None of us are going to know, are we, for a long time, I don't think. I thought there'd be some things that I could share with you that have helped me in the last week or so, 2 weeks, to switch off at night and have a better sleep, because I think nighttime is the worst time when catastrophes happen, whether it's on a big scale or whether it's just something personal in your own family. And it's the time when you start sort of looking at your phone, going down a rabbit hole into looking at the news and thinking to yourself, what if, what if, what if? The first tip is, do not look at your phone before you go to bed. And I know people have been banging on about that for absolutely ages, years and years and years. I've probably said it in videos, but it's so important. Just resist the temptation. Now, what I've started instead, which I try and do as an ongoing habit, but now and again I slip back into that thing of looking at my phone, and then before you know it, it's 3 in the morning and you've been looking at the news for 4 hours and you've just been looking at all sorts of things that aren't helpful and haven't added to your beneficial knowledge of anything. So I just look at the BBC News, and I do that after we've had the daily address from Boris. And then I just look at the recap. And I find that I like the BBC News because it feels really trustworthy. And although I read papers, I find that because they've got comment sections, I start reading the comments to see what other people think about the news item, which is madness because they're not professionals, they're not experts, they are armchair experts who, a lot of them are just nasty and have got an axe to grind or are stirring things up. And it is not good. So there's 2 tips in one there. Only choose your news source And I think the BBC is a really good one. That's for people in the UK, obviously, wherever it is your national broadcasting place for your country. Read it once a day, and that's all you need to do. Nothing's going to change. You can't do anything. You're stuck in the bloody house. I mean, there is literally nothing that you can do, really, at the moment. So I think for your own sanity and to keep your family life going, read it once a day. So I do it at 5:30 when the kids are having their tea, and that's it then. And I'm really keying back on social media as well, because everyone's got an opinion on there. And I think it's quite nice to stay connected, but in that time that you were using 4 hours on Instagram or what have you, ring some people, pick the phone up. No one answers me, weirdly, which is quite worrying. It makes me think, does everyone actually hate me? But I've been leaving lots of voicemails for people and they haven't rung me back. But I think that as a generation, we've really got out of the habit of picking up the phone and actually speaking live to people. So that's what I've been trying to do instead of loads of social media. And then definitely not before bed. I've been reading instead. I am reading the new Hilary Mantel. I've been waiting for bloody years for this to come out. So this is the third in the trilogy. They're about Thomas Cromwell. I'm obsessed with the Tudor era and Henry VIII. And I did my thesis for my master's degree on the first two Hilary Mantel books. So I've been desperate for this to come out. This is called The Mirror and the Light. And I am actually getting some form of repetitive strain injury from holding it up. It is so heavy, but I'm enjoying it massively. She's just an amazing writer. And it's taking my mind off everything. It's a little bit of escapism. Another thing we've started doing, I'd never seen it before, Downton Abbey. I have to say, the first one or two were a little bit dry. And then she bloody shags the guy and he has a heart attack and dies. It was an amazing turnaround. It was so exciting. So we've got ourselves into a little bit of Downton Abbey as well. And that is a massive amount of escapism. I quite like it because it's from another time. And so you really can remove yourself from current affairs. And I think that we need to do that. You need to stay informed and you need to follow the instructions. I mean, these idiots that are still not bloody distancing themselves and going out for non-essential things makes my blood boil. But I'm trying to control my rage at the moment. And so, yes, a bit of escapism I think is good. So have your news session, keep it to that, and then nothing else. You can't obsess over it. It is what it is. It is incredibly worrying, but it's very easy to send yourself into a frenzy and a panic when really what you want is the facts. So that's my little tuppence worth on that. The next thing is soothing sleep sounds, okay? So my husband has been using one of the Calm Mind ones. I think it's called that. I use Simply Being because I quite like the jungle sound on there. Also, if you have a new baby or you're pregnant, I have my app, which is called the Night Feed, which has sleep sounds on. So you could go for that. I'll put little links to all of these below. And we really like tuning. Well, he got me into it. I used to do it a long time ago when I used to grind my teeth, and I can't remember why that started, but I used to have to listen to these meditation apps to get myself to sleep. And I've started doing that again on his advice because I do think it's brilliant just to switch off. But actually, since I've been reading, I find that I don't need it so much. Because also, this is the thing that I do before bed. All right, treatment bath. This is what I do every night before I go to sleep. I have a treatment bath. Now, you know those really wanky luxury bath salts that you can get, and you get a jar about this big and it's about 30, 40 quid. So maybe have a bit of essential oils in, but what they basically are is Epsom salts, okay, which is magnesium sulfate, and they are really good for easing muscular aches and pains and things like that. But I find the effect of them is that I just fall asleep. I think they're amazing. I have a good sort of 10-15 minute soak and I put masses in. And the reason I can put masses in, never buy those luxury ones again. I mean, it's nice now and again, but my God, value for money wise, it's ridiculous, because I pay 20 quid and I get 10 kilos. The only reason I can lift this, by the way, is because it's almost empty. And because I buy 10 kilos, I could put 2 massive mugfuls in at a time. I keep the mug in here, which is pretty much the same as putting in a whole jar of the 30, 40 quid ones, except it costs me, I can't even work it out, but it's probably about 30 or 40p a bath, something like that. And it's the same effect. If you want the nice smell and your essential oils, then just get something like Aromatherapy Associates, or this is a Neal's Yard one. This is frankincense. Oh no, it's not Neal's Yard. Neal's Yard do them. Aromatherapy Associates again. De-stress frankincense. Couple of drops in the bath. That's it. You've got your luxury bath. There is no need to spend that much money. And so this is what I get. A different one each time. I just get whatever looks best. Pharmaceutical grade, these are, whatever that means. This is from Elixir Garden Supplies, which is kind of worrying. But you know, it does say to add your salts to a tub of warm water and soak. You can use it as a foot bath or as a whole body bath. This says 2 cups full, and I do. I literally chuck in, I've got a mug, chuck in 2 lots of that, which you would never do with luxury bath salts. So don't all rush to, I'll put the link on Amazon for the ones that I have got for the last 2 times. Don't all, I don't know what's going on with deliveries at the moment. So if it looks like deliveries are scarce, then you know it's not an essential. And let people get their medicines and whatever it is first. Let's all be sensible about this thing. But if things sort of level out and there are delivery slots and it looks okay, I can't recommend them highly enough. Honestly, I go into like a coma of a sleep. So basically that whole video revolves around 3 or 4 tips that I've probably told you before and you've probably heard everywhere. But I just thought I'd recap because I think it's important that we all look after our heads and our brains and our stress levels at this time, because it is just, I honestly, I've said this a few times, I would feel almost more comfortable if an alien spaceship had landed, like War of the Worlds, because I could get my head around it more. I just feel like this is so, there's still just no real information. There's loads of information, but we don't really know what there is to know. Do you know what I mean? Does anyone else feel like that? Just confused. I feel confused. One minute I feel really positive, and the next minute I'm just worried sick about it and about catching it, and just don't know where to put my head with it, to be quite honest. And I think being thrown into disarray and not being able to work, and it is hard work looking after young kids, as you'll know if you have young kids or toddlers, babies, and that just throws you out. You know, just having no time to yourself is weird. I want to say hard, but I feel like there are people with hardships and it does them a disservice. And so on that note, I'm going to go. Let me know what you want to see from me, and I will see you in whatever the next video brings. All right, so love to you all and stay safe, and I'll see you next time.